Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some news updates from around the land of smiles for you today, this Thursday, February 13th. Now, before we begin, please remember to subscribe to the Tiger. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you like to stay up to date on all things Thailand. Now, today, we'll be talking about a horror story that unfolded in a Thai sugarcane field, the impact that Trump's tariffs will have on Thailand, and a little later, an alleged terror plot against a high-ranking Cambodian official. But first, we're back here in Pattaya with a tragic story involving a Russian tourist. A 33-year-old Russian tourist, Andrew Anganov, died after using a boat slide near Kosak on Pattaya Bay on February 11th. After sliding into the sea, he complained of severe back pain before going into shock and losing consciousness. Marine rescue teams retrieved him and attempted CPR, but he was later announced dead at Pattaya City Hospital. Authorities suspect his weight, over 100 kilograms, contributed to the impact injuries. An autopsy will determine the exact cause of death, and his embassy has been formed as well as his family. Okay, obviously weight was a bit of an issue here. It's one of those things where I guess Thailand is not so well equipped for people that are above average weight as it was in this case. Apparently he had, we're still trying to figure out determine the cause of death, but impacted, landed in the water, went into some sort of convulsion shock thing and lost consciousness, and despite efforts to resuscitate, unfortunately, they were in vain. But just goes to show you, man, if you are in one of those health categories where you might be more at risk, because, I mean, this guy was 33 years old. Like, that is not old at all. And even some people overweight should be, able to handle these kinds of things. The risk is pretty great, it appears. And unfortunately, this one ended in tragedy. Now, anyways, be careful, guys. And, as we've been doing in the office these days, trying to lose weight, get a little bit healthier so that we don't end up being this kind of headline. But yes, anyways, not the only tragic story, guys. Okay, I got some nightmare fuel for you on the next one, and then I'm going to try to get us into some happier territory, but unfortunately, I have a doozy for you now. A teenager was killed by a harvester in Kamphaeng, Phet. A 15-year-old boy, Anuson, tragically died in Kamphaeng, Phet after being pulled into a sugarcane harvester on February 11th. He was reportedly asleep in a furrow when the harvester unknowingly dragged him into its machinery before ejecting him onto a truck, resulting in his immediate death. The dense sugarcane field likely obstructed visibility, leading to the fatal accident. Authorities are investigating the incident, and his body is being prepared for funeral rites at Wat Chantima. Good God. Okay, so this is obviously farmhands. Always a risk, especially when there's heavy farm material or machinery working the fields. This poor boy just having a break, having a snooze, a little doze off. And unfortunately, the heavy machinery didn't wake him up before he was sucked in, and it was too late. So a cautionary tale, I guess, if anybody who's working the farms is watching this. I don't think that's exactly our demographics, but at the end of the day, just be careful. The farming accidents are they don't happen that often here, but when they do, it is the stuff of nightmares. So heart goes out to this kid's family, and hopefully they can get to the bottom of what happened so they can prevent it from ever happening again. Jesus Christ. Moving on. I think that's enough doom and gloom, but now we have some scam news, and some good news at that. A Phuket raid has captured 4 foreign hackers behind a 560 million baht scam. No small sum. Thai authorities arrested 4 foreign hackers in Phuket for orchestrating a malware scam that defrauded over 1,000 victims of nearly $16 million or 560 million baht. Wanted in Switzerland, the suspects used ransomware to encrypt victims' data and demanded cryptocurrency ransoms. A very old strategy. Working with Swiss officials, Thai police launched Operation Phobos, raiding multiple locations and seizing digital evidence. The hackers face extradition to Switzerland on charges of wire fraud and conspiracy. This crackdown highlights Thailand's commitment to international cybercrime enforcement. Well, I say keep him here for prison in Thailand. I think, that's much less of a vacation than what they might face in Switzerland. Obviously, Switzerland, no strangers to financial crimes throughout the years. Obviously, the Swiss bank account is famous for all sorts of things, I'll say allegedly. We need to make those shirts. But at least these people have been stopped and they can do no more scams. What remains to be seen is what punishment they will face for all of this fraud. And, pain and misery. $60 million from 1,000 people. Spread that out. That's a lot of money for each victim. So, yikes. Anyways, good news. At least these have been put to a stop. All right. Now I have an update for a story that we covered earlier in the week. There was a little bit of gay-on-gay crime, which erupted in some protests. Well, there have been some arrests made. That's right. 8 have been arrested in Bangkok University over a hot soup assault incident. Ouch. Thai authorities arrested 6 more students in connection with the assault of a Bangkok University peer, bringing the total number of suspects to 8. The 2 main perpetrators, Prem and Oshi, were arrested earlier for extortion and assault after pouring hot soup on the victim and demanding money. A viral video of the attack sparked protests, leading to their expulsion from the university. The victim suffered burns and other injuries and has filed a police report. The case remains under investigation. Ouch. So, good that this, you always have to wonder what kind of justice would be done if this stuff wasn't going viral. But fortunately, in this case, it has gone viral. So the authorities are taking swift action. Already expelled from the university, probably being arrested and convicted of crimes. So truly, was this worth it? Bullying is a big problem, especially amongst the youth. Now we're seeing the consequences of that bullying. Their lives are ruined. And obviously the trauma inflicted on the victim themselves, that sucks too. They've been put into the limelight and made very public against their will. I don't know, sucks all around. So I think it'd be good for the Thai authorities to make an example of these rascals, rapscallions, whatever you want to call them, because they've ruined not only their own lives but several of the lives around them in the group that they've probably led and orchestrated this bullying incident with. So just goes to show you guys, be nice, don't bully. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty simple advice, but unfortunately, a lot of people still don't take it. All right, up next, we got some economic news. There's been a lot of talk in the world about Trump and his tariffs and trade policies. Well, guess what? He has new ideas for Thailand as well. So let's go over Trump's tariffs and trade policies and what they mean for Thailand. So experts urge Thailand to adapt to shifting global trade dynamics caused by former U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies. While a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum is expected to impact U.S. consumers, Thailand faces minimal direct consequences for now. However, broader trade barriers could increase export costs and slow global economic growth. Analysts suggest Thailand should enhance competitiveness by investing in technology, forming strategic trade partnerships, and adding value to key industries like agriculture and tourism. Reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar and strengthening negotiation strategies are also recommended. Look, a lot of people talk about, Thailand has a lot of protective tariffs up as well. Look, this is something that I taught economics. For me, tariffs are good if you're trying to develop your own internal industry, right? If you're trying to discourage consumers and external competition, it's a good way to develop your own domestic industries. However, it's worse for your consumers, right? So if people are trying to consume things more cheaply, lower tariff barriers are a plus. So what is your society is basically what phase is your society in? If you are still developing your industries, tariffs make a little bit more sense to protect those industries and make sure that the money can come in and provide wages for the workers within those industries. However, in America, we're much more service-based, not manufacturing, right? We're not really. It's when we're consuming products like the toys from China and things like that. We want them to be cheaper. So those protections are put in place to try and develop more industry, but will it actually happen? That is yet to be seen. Obviously, the tariffs highly controversial and will have a big impact on American consumers, but what impact will it have on the developing world? That is yet to be seen. We'll find out. All right, Last story for Thailand. We are back into Pattaya, where there is a pedestrian crisis. Crumbling walkways and traffic hazards are plaguing the city. That's right, Pattaya's pedestrian infrastructure is in crisis, with hazardous crossings, crumbling footpaths, and a lack of traffic enforcement endangering both locals and tourists alike. Even at traffic lights, motorbikes and cars frequently ignore pedestrian signals, forcing walkers to remain on high alert. Sidewalks are often blocked by parked motorbikes and vendors, pushing pedestrians into traffic. Cultural differences further add to the risks, as foreign visitors expect drivers to yield, something rarely observed in Pattaya, and I think I have to agree. Experts suggest installing footbridges and stricter traffic enforcement to improve safety, but for now, walking the city remains a risky challenge. Makes sense. This has been an issue, not just for Pattaya, a lot of places in Thailand. Phuket, this is an issue. Bangkok, it's an issue. The footpaths are just not footpathy enough. And many of us are forced to step into the roads just to be able to avoid whatever obstacles are on the footpaths. But please, let me know your thoughts on Pattaya. What can be done in order to make it a safer place for pedestrians? Because, it's a big walking city. One of the biggest attractions is walking street. And, of course, that entire ocean drive along the beach over there. People are crossing left and right all the time. So, it'd be nice if the city could take some steps to make it a little bit safer for all of the tourists who are coming and not really aware of the culture around a pedestrian life here in Thailand. That'll do it for our Thailand section of the news, guys. We still have some crazy stories coming out of the greater ASEAN region. And our first stop is Cambodia. Now, the Cambodian Senate president has claimed a terror drone attack plot has unfolded on his Takhmao home. That's right, Cambodian Senate President Hun Sen revealed a recent terror plot involving a planned drone attack on his Takhmao residence. Speaking at a school inauguration, he warned against foreign support for terrorist activities. While he did not name suspects, the plot emerges amid opposition efforts to form a government in exile. Security experts believe such an attack would destabilize Cambodia and urged heightened vigilance. Authorities are investigating, recalling past assassination attempts against Hun Sen. Analysts stress the importance of ensuring national security and addressing threats based on concrete evidence. Curious, okay? Look, the opposition is trying to make a government in exile. If they come back to Cambodia, surely they'd be arrested by the current ruling party. However, how much credibility is there to this quote-unquote terror plot? Obviously, it's his word against whose. Like, we don't really know. They haven't named any suspects. They haven't brought anybody forward. It's very vague. And, with authorities like this who have had a problem with opposition leaders, journalists trying to investigate things, it's hard to take him at his word. So I'm curious to know your thoughts, Cambodia. What actually happened here? Is there a terror plot, or is this fear-mongering on the part of the powers that be right now in order to consolidate control over the country? Let me know in the comments, please. Moving on to our next story, we're heading to the Philippines. The Philippines, Sara Duterte is facing criminal charges for her alleged threats against Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, has filed criminal cases against Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte for allegedly threatening to have President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez killed if she were assassinated. The charges, inciting to sedition and grave threats, were filed with the Department of Justice, which will assess whether they proceed to court. Duterte did not appear before the NBI last year, but denied the allegations through her lawyer. The case is now under review by prosecutors. All right, that's a pretty gutsy denial, because she was definitely caught on camera saying these words. However, she's saying that they were taken out of context, right? I'm only going to kill them if they kill me first. What am I supposed to say? But this is certainly not how you would expect leaders of nations, two of the biggest families in Philippine politics, to be talking about each other like they're Crips and Bloods, right? Like, this sounds like an old mafioso vendetta, not political rivals. So certainly the ramping up of the rhetoric is not good, and that is certainly what she is being prosecuted for, or potentially prosecuted for, as this case unfolds. But Philippines, Pick your side. It seems like everybody is drawing up battle lines, whether they're supporting Marcos Jr. and his ilk or Duterte and her ilk. We'll see how this all plays out in the courts, though. All right. Moving on. We are in, well, okay, we got a Vietnamese/Japanese story. A Vietnamese worker has suffered a brain concussion. I don't know where else you get concussions, but after an assault by a Japanese manager. That's right, a Vietnamese worker in Japan suffered a concussion after being assaulted by his Japanese manager named Yasuhiro Kawabata at a Fukuoka construction site. Kawabata, 40 years old, was arrested for attempted murder after allegedly kicking the worker from behind as he descended a staircase, causing him to fall. The victim was hospitalized and has since been discharged but remains under medical supervision. The Vietnamese embassy's labor board is coordinating with unions to ensure the workers' protection. Talk about wanting to kill your boss. Jesus Christ. This guy, I don't know, Vietnamese worker, immigrant worker, that is, like, the Japanese are not cool with immigrants, man. Like, as a general rule for their society, you're welcome to come and visit them for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but then get the hell out. They are a very xenophobic society at large over there, and here that culture rears its ugly head, where the boss sees his worker as less than human, as somebody that you can do this to without any fear of consequences. Fortunately, he's facing a lot of consequences. Attempted murder he is wanted for now. So certainly losing his job, potentially spending a lot of time in jail. So this has become a very high-profile case in Japan, and fortunately, the Vietnamese embassy has been able to advocate for this worker and make sure that this horrible boss faces some justice. But yeah, Jesus, control yourselves, people, and treat your workers like human beings. I hate seeing this stuff. All right, last story of the day, we are off to Indonesia, where there's been some controversy surrounding, age restrictions on social media. But it turns out most Indonesian parents support social media age restrictions, but doubt its effectiveness. That's right, a YouGov survey found that 84% of Indonesian parents support the government's plan to regulate children's social media use by setting a minimum age limit. However, only 50% will believe it's effective. Parents' biggest concern include age-appropriate content, which was 81%, excessive screen time, 74%, and mental health effects, 70%. TikTok is seen as the most dangerous platform, while YouTube and Instagram are considered safer. Most parents believe 15 to 17 is the ideal age to start social media, with a 2-hour daily limit. The government aims to balance child protection with access to information. I don't know, that all seems kind of reasonable to me. Like 15 to 17 is about that time where, you're entering adulthood. You're going to get social media eventually. You might get some practice rounds during high school. Yeah, and any earlier, right, like screen time is a big issue for a lot of parents. A lot of people see the screens as, the third parent, as a bit of a babysitter. Depends on what they're doing with it, I think. Social media is a bit of a harrowing field, right? There's a lot of bullying, a lot of mental health issues that come with it, and of course, inappropriate content. Sometimes I get shocked by what I see. I'm like, oh God, I did not want to see that. So I can understand parents' concerns. Also, the question of how effective it will be. A lot of people don't seem convinced. However, it is interesting to see them trying. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, Indonesia. Will this be a good policy to enact, or damn it, should the kids be allowed to do what they want to do? Let me know in the comments. All right, well, that'll do it for the channel. Let me wrap up, then I'll jump into the comments. Guys, you can always go, thank you for joining us for today's edition of Good Morning Thailand. You can always stay up to date with more news stories throughout the day by subscribing to our social media channels, either on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can find us all there at The Takhmao. Just type in The Takhmao and you'll find us there. You can also go to thetiger.com to find more news articles published throughout the day to stay up to date on all things in the land of smiles. Also, you can go over to ASEANnow.com. We see a lot of people here on YouTube in the chat having a wonderful time with us in the conversation. You can keep that conversation going by heading over to ASEANnow.com, signing up for an account, and joining Thailand's largest expat forum and rapidly growing around the ASEAN region. That'll do it. We'll be with you again tomorrow. For now, let me jump into the comments.